In scoring and assists. The other is a guy named Pete Maravich, the original white chocolate. Young folks, look him up on YouTube. Pistol Pete Maravich was a straight-up baller. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. In my prior commentary about Destination Crenshaw, or Procrastination Crenshaw as we call it around here, I opine that sometimes neglect becomes a decision. I want to challenge my own neglect becomes a decision thesis in just a moment. This $100 million revitalization project was supposed to transform 1.3 miles of Crenshaw Boulevard into a world-class celebration of Black art and culture. It was first promised to open in 2023, then 2024, and here we are, still waiting, still suffering. The businesses along this corridor, Black-owned businesses, are suffocating. Construction chaos everywhere, shuttered storefronts, a community being bled dry by broken promises. So, I stand by my earlier formulation that neglect becomes a decision. But as I have thought more about the gross negligence, the incompetence on steroids, it occurs to me that sometimes neglect isn't just a decision. Neglect is the default position of some Black electeds. Not all, but some. They just don't believe that Black folk deserve the very best. They don't believe that we deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. So we go from being constituents on the campaign trail to collateral once they're sworn into office. And when, for example, one is termed out of office and can't run again, but is still clutching the gavel of power, one thinks that he can stay comfortably above the fray while we anguish for years on end. The apparent attitude is, I'll just leave this mess for the next person to clean up. That's what it feels like, Mr. President, Mr. LA City Council President. But it's not just him, it's the local media too, Black and white, corporate and independent. Look at how little has been said about this never-ending nightmare in Crenshaw, year after year after year. Nobody at City Hall and nobody who's supposed to be holding City Hall accountable seems to care one bit about the safety and security of Crenshaw residents and the Black business owners who are slowly being strangled. Don't be fooled. This isn't just a construction delay. This is what disrespect looks like with a budget attached. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA. Talk with
Jackson Jr., welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA 1580. It's Tenacious Tuesday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I'm very grateful that our special guest, Dexter Hall, is joining us in just a moment. Now, of course, the online will also be here. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Enjoyed a very, very, very important conversation with Brother Smiley just a few moments ago about how far essentially we are willing to go in the name of Democrat. One, recognizing the history of who the party is and what they have done in their past, and their identification with the party of Thomas Jefferson in 1793, which was an agrarian party and a party of slavery, no doubt about it, and how just 157 years or so from the moment we arrived in Jamestown to July 4th, 1776, we embraced Jefferson's language of all men are created equal. But that's not how he felt on that day, July 4th, 1776. That's not how he felt about women. It's not how he felt about African Americans. It's not how he felt about Native Americans. It's just not how Thomas Jefferson felt. The next 88 years, of course, until Gettysburg and the Emancipation Proclamation, July 4th would then take on a new meaning for those of us who are finally included in the definition of what it means to be an American. That's part of an evolution. It took us a minute to get there now. Our very special guest, I believe, is here. Dexter Hall is here, is he not, Chief? Okay. Hi, Dr. Hall. How are you? Brother Hall, you here?
Great. I wish I was the doctor, but Dexter will do fine. How are you today, Jesse?
I'm so glad you're here. For more than 3 decades, Dexter Hall has been a powerful voice at the intersection of economic opportunity, corporate responsibility, and community impact. As the leader of North-Kith Consultants, he has helped develop business, nonprofits, and public institutions move beyond intention and toward real sustainable change. An MBA graduate and respected board leader, Dexter's work in financial literacy, crisis recovery, and corporate philanthropy has expanded access to opportunity for thousands in underserved communities. Today, our conversation turns to one of the most urgent issues facing our communities, homelessness and housing stability. Through his work with the Providence Foundation in San Francisco, Bayview Hunters Point Community, an organization dedicated to providing supportive housing, family shelters, and services for seniors and vulnerable families, Dexter is helping turn compassion into action. Mr. Hall is a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Everybody cannot be a member of Omega Psi Phi, but he believes in real change and happens when leadership meets service like home. Hi, Dexter. How you doing, man?
Hey, you know what? There had to be a first, and like I always say to everyone else in the D9, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I appreciate that, Dexter. Dexter, I know I only have you for half an hour, but I'm so grateful that you're here because the nation is having a housing crisis, and we have about 2 minutes before we come forward, and then in the next segment, right after that break, we have about a solid 20 minutes of conversation. In the minute and a half that we have, can you give us the structured nature from your perspective of the nation's housing problem?
I think in particular, number one, of course, there's just not enough housing stock. And so that currently obviously leads to supply. And so if you don't have enough supply, the demand goes up, prices goes up. And then, of course, you know what that means. And I think even when you look at Black folks and even in some of the communities in which we serve, it really dates back to redlining, wage gap, housing discrimination. And so it marginalizes Black folks even more. And I think even for our conversation today, there were some new statistics that I just, ran across was really, looking at some of the leading indicators related to what's about to take place, related to being unhoused or hitting homelessness. And one of those has to do with, of course, eviction notices. Because you can determine a lot by looking at a city's eviction filings as what's about to take place.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Our very special guest in this hour is Dexter Hall. We're live on KBLA Talk 1580. We're live all over the country and all over the world. If you're listening through the app, So grateful for your participation. More with Dexter Hall when we come forward right here at KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations, come on, y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA. Look, 5 years deep and we still going up. Built it from the ground, never real, no one else. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. Happy smiling, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest is an expert in the area of housing. Dexter R. Hall is our very special guest at this hour. Dexter, welcome forward to the show.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for having me.
Dexter, before we go back to these factors that have contributed to the absence of housing stock, including historic discrimination, etc., you've taken this issue, this bull by the horn, if you will, and the Providence Foundation has doing some fairly outstanding work. I want you to share with our listeners what the Providence Foundation does, where it is, how we can be supportive, and then let's tackle some of the issues that have made the Providence Foundation necessary.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having us. Providence Foundation was founded in San Francisco, California, in a historic neighborhood, Bayview Hunters Point. Many other folks know Hunters Point area. It's where Candlestick Park, the San Francisco 49ers used to play, and everyone, so you could see it. And so this community was created by Black migrants moving from the South, during the war days. And just like a community at that point in time, over 80 years ago, the Providence Baptist Church was founded, and out of that came the Providence Foundation. Just like we know, this foundation was created by the community because of the need within the community. Former pastor walking down one of the streets in San Francisco, close to the church, saw individuals outside sleeping. And he just basically said, Jesse, no more. And he did just like we do as a community. He opened up the church doors. They had a gym, and they began housing people, not for a contract, not for any type of remuneration. They just began housing people because it was the right thing to do. He galvanized the community. They began to feed individuals on a nightly basis to be able to give them shelter from the heat, the wind, the storms that were out there, and then recognize that we need to do a little bit more and began to work with them on creating some stabilization methods. And so out of a pastor's heart is how this organization was founded and still exists today, as a culturally relevant organization, speaking the language of our community, knowing what it is that our community needs. Even when our community can't articulate their needs, one of the things that we work in is we recognize that even when it comes to resources that exist, sometimes there is an access to the resources that our community does not have that. And we stand in the gap to be able to make sure that they have the ability to be able to reach all the resources that are needed to be able to help them to stabilize and to be able to move their families forward.
Dexter, the story of Providence can probably be told in 20,000 cities across the United States of America, and it takes a slightly different twist when it's told from an African-American perspective, or even from a Latino perspective, or even, how about this, from the perspective of a homeless veteran.
Correct.
There's always a twist to this question of housing the ill-housed, those who are looking or transitioning from some form of housing to temporary housing, etc. A lot of challenges in that space. And there's also, as you well know, some abuse that has led to homelessness in many communities around our country. I'm wondering, given the great philanthropic work that Providence does in San Francisco, would you agree that this problem is a story that could be told in every city in the United States and is truly a national crisis?
This is a story that is told, and it absolutely is a national crisis. And the pathways to homeless, or if there are 50 million people or 207 million people in America, the pathways to homeless are all extremely different. And the stories, but our story in terms of the cities and the need and how the need is solved, it really goes back to a community story. Jesse, I liken it from a Black perspective, as you just indicated, is that once upon a time, when a family became homeless, in my own situation, I didn't recognize my mother's coworker living with us for a time. I just thought it was, Aunt Cynthia and her kid, was staying with us. I didn't think anything about them being homeless, because this is what we did. This is what our community has always done, except that all of a sudden it begins to reach epidemic proportions. And even in San Francisco, what you find is that you have a Black population in this city that has gone from over 13% to under 5% now. And so guess what? Those families don't exist. Individuals still exist, but there's not the grandmas or the grandfathers or the uncles or aunts still in the city that individuals can go to as they once did once upon a time, to be able to say, can I stay on your couch? Still homeless, but yet I'm still housed in terms of couch surfing. And so those things just don't exist. Those family units do not exist in the same way as they once did, as we care for each other.
So we recognize the problem is widespread, that it's in every single jurisdiction in the United States in some form. And as you correctly stated, the pathway to solving the issue, or even to entering the condition of being ill-housed or homeless, is unique for every individual. It seems to me that without national coordination on this question, that we can't tackle the problem one state at a time, one city at a time, one church at a time, one neighborhood at a time. It requires the focus of the American people to recognize that if you will, let me be biblical and theological for a moment, that the Son of Man should have a house, that he should have something over his or her head. That's a national
Absolutely.
policy, right, Dexter?
No, absolutely. I think that it is a philosophy that many expose, and I do believe in housing first. You definitely need more housing stock, and it needs to be affordable so that individuals have the ability to not only to be able to obtain it, but also to maintain it as well. And so you need more affordable housing within the country, because I think what many forget is that when you look at housing first, it creates stabilization across education, across health. And so all of the outcomes show very positive behaviors in terms of a family unit, a community that continues to grow and thrive when individuals are housed. Now, the opposite happens when there's not that housing first policy. Anytime housing is destabilized or individuals enter unhoused, then what you begin to see is obviously school instability. Education results go down amongst kids when there's unstable housing. Mental health, not only but mental health, but physical health. And so you get all of these issues that come when you have unstable housing, but the opposite is true when you have stable housing itself. And so, and that's why even when you look at some of the efforts as it relates to the healthcare system, and they look at the social determinants of health, they begin to recognize that health is an ultimate outcome of many other things, i.e. housing stability, food security, that all of those things either will lead to great health or they also will lead to bad health itself.
I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree with you more. You're spot on. I'd like to go back to this question, however, national coordination, because as we commemorate, if you will, on one side of town and celebrate on the other side of town, the Declaration of Independence, the founding of the country, the 250th anniversary, it just seems somewhat amazing to me that we've been able to build train tracks from Maine all the way to California, essentially using the same gauge, that we've been able to land airplanes from very small Wright Brothers size planes that look like kites and made out of paper, all the way to the 747 and launching the Concorde that's transcontinental in the 70s and the 80s. We've been able to build highways from Maine all the way to California, and we have the same red stop signs, the same yellow yield lights, and the same green lights, some national coordination. But Dexter, when it comes to housing, the Constitution is silent, and many state constitutions are silent. Therefore, the kind of resources that are necessary to resolve the problem, and more specifically, to coordinate the problem so that it can be resolved, simply doesn't exist. And it seems to be a factor in the will, if you will, Dexter, of the American people.
I think, Jesse, you're absolutely right. I think the will is there. I don't believe that the story has always been framed in the correct manner, is because communities don't always look at what takes place in terms of taxpayer dollars. I don't know if they always show the right return on investment. When you actually invest in housing, how that actually not only uplifts that one particular community, but it uplifts the entire economic feature in an area. Everyone actually benefits when individuals are housed, basically based upon what it is I just stated. So in other words, if I'm unhoused and I now become housed, my health improves. So if I'm on a government assisted program, i.e. taxpayer funded program, well, guess what? If I am in better health now, then I have the ability to be able to obtain income. So which means I can find a job or get a better education. And then that decreases, if you will, the amount of money that is needed from taxpayers to be able to fund quote unquote programs that so many say that they don't like, or that individuals should get up and pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And we know how that conversation goes, when it comes to that. And so I don't believe the story is always framed to be able to show the return to the individual taxpayer. When you begin to show the return to the individual taxpayer, then all of a sudden it opens up some lights. As I've had conversations with individuals, it brightens lights to be able to show them, oh, this is actually a benefit to me. Absolutely it is. It's a benefit when all communities begin to rise themselves.
It's really interesting because so many realtors on this day, they sell their local school districts with the housing, or the housing is sold with the local school district. You just don't buy a house in a nice neighborhood. You also buy a school district.
Right.
Because people who own a home want to know where they're sending their kids to school, the quality of education in the school. It all comes as part of the housing package. And so, to your point, Dexter, there is no separation. You don't get to separate a man's health or a woman's health or a family's health from the domicile that they live in, because it's all part of mental health, if nothing else. We have a place to call home, right? We have somewhere to go. We are part of a community. We are concerned about our neighbors. We knock on the door next door and borrow some butter or some sugar if we need it, because people are looking out for each other. In fact, my mama used to tell me that when she was growing up, Grandma Gertie would every now and then chastise her children, every now and then pull a little switch and pop them on the behind with it. But she said that was the least of her problems. The neighborhood was so concerned about her brothers and sisters, and everyone was so concerned about each other's children. By the time you got home, the last behind whipping you got was from your mama. The first one you got was from every neighbor who saw you doing wrong. That's part of community too. I do want to make this point, if I can. I was in North Carolina a few weeks ago speaking at a conference of D9 and the legislative conference in Raleigh, North Carolina, and a decision had just been rendered. Middle class, working class white family moved from their urban community and they moved into a black community. And the white family said, wait a minute, we don't want our kid going to this school. We just left the school with everything, but because our jobs shifted, we're now going to a school here. Wait a minute, we live in the neighborhood now. So they brought a lawsuit. It's called Leandro. And the court ruled that the state legislature in North Carolina needed to spend billions of dollars to make the schools where the black kids lived like the schools where the white kid was moving from, and that the Leandro family, a white family, was right in arguing that the schools were different. Now, because we didn't vote in North Carolina in the last couple of elections with the numbers that we had, even though that decision had been lasted for 30 years and the legislature never spent $1 fixing the schools, a conservative court now then turned Leandro on its head and dismissed the case, even though it was settled 25 or 30 years ago. Right. I say that to say that housing is complicated when it comes to our issues, because it's also tied to our education and our health. Dexter, your final thoughts.
You mean separate but equal doesn't work? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I think I'm getting to, Brown.
Go figure that separate but equal doesn't work, and it takes a white family to begin to realize that theory does not work, and it's not in theoretical or even in practice, that it doesn't work. So thank you very much, Jesse, and thank you for having the time today.
I am so grateful that you've been on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and I'm so grateful that we have KBLA on our 5th anniversary to be able to have such a meaningful conversation with Dexter Hall from the Providence Foundation. Dexter, we got about 30 seconds. Dexter, how can we support your foundation?
Listen, go to Providence SF, providencefoundationsf.org on our website. You'll see all of our information there, and we would certainly like you to be able to follow us on all of our socials at Providence SF across LinkedIn, Facebook, all of those. But go to our website and engage with us. Sign up for our newsletter, and we welcome any and all assistance to be able to assist those that are helping us. Can't wait to get back to be able to talk about the rising eviction rates.
Dexter, promise me you're coming back.
Hey, if you'll have me.
Looking forward to it. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580, providencesf.org. That's how you can learn more about the Providence Foundation and what they are doing to help the ill-housed. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward right here. Happy 5th birthday.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. In an update on a story we're following for you, civil rights attorney Ben Crump wants an independent autopsy in the death of a 1-year-old African-American boy shot by Senatobia, Mississippi police. His name is Cohen Wiley. Police were responding to a shoplifting report. The boy's mom, Valencia Wiley, was a passenger in the car with her baby as another woman was driving. Wiley tells WHBQ her side of the story.
Yeah, they tried to say that she forcefully was trying to drive and hit them, but they was all on the right side and she was driving towards the left. They just shot in the car.
But police say Cohen was being held by his mother in the passenger seat of the suspect vehicle that was trying to leave the Walmart parking lot. One fired a shot, killing the child when the car drove toward officers. A Los Angeles City Councilwoman wants an independent investigation of the massive warehouse fire in Boyle Heights. It's been burning for a week. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the free iHeartRadio app.
Wild Rivers is now open daily with over 25 slides and attractions for thrill seekers and lazy river chillers. Visit wildrivers.com for great values on season passes and daily tickets. That's wildrivers.com. Wild Rivers, where there's sun and fun for everyone.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The first round of the NBA draft is tonight in Brooklyn. The Clippers have the number 5 pick. The Lakers are at number 25. Tonight is a major opportunity for the Clippers to get an impact player. There's a player the Clippers need to take at number 5, and he's projected to be available. Darius Acuff Jr., a 6'3" freshman point guard from Arkansas, is the kind of player the Clippers need to get younger in the backcourt and provide some clutch offense. This kid is a shooter and a playmaker. In 3 NCAA tournament games last season, Acuff averaged 29.3 points and 5.1 assists. He was voted Southeastern Conference Player of the Year. Acuff is also one of only 2 players in SEC history to lead the conference in scoring and assists. The other is a guy named Pete Maravich, the original White Chocolate. Young folks, look him up on YouTube. Pistol Pete Maravich was a straight-up baller. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We love America in spite of, not because of. And that's the deepest kind of love. This is KBLA Talk 1580. 1580. In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through this city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
Please be advised. You may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, bean sprouts, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
Wait, what? I thought those were good for me.
Turns out not for everyone, because what's healthy for one person can cause inflammation for another. And the only way to really know what your body needs is to listen to it.
Listen how?
That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple at-home gut health test that looks at your body's real-time biology using RNA to understand what's happening inside you right now. When your results come in, you'll learn exactly which foods to eat, which to avoid, and which supplements are right for you, all based on the world's largest RNA-based human biology database and thousands of clinical research studies. And many people who use Viome report more energy, better digestion, and a better mood within months. So stop guessing. Start knowing. Learn more at Viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, IOME.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase. Viome. Trust your gut.
When the story gets twisted, who's going to tell the truth? When they cut the microphones, who's still talking? When history gets rewritten, who remembers what really happened? We do. KBLA Talk 1580. Black media isn't just important right now, it's essential. Because when mainstream outlets move on, we stay. When the headlines ignore our communities, we don't. When decisions are being made that affect Black lives in our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, KBLA is in the room. This is more than radio. This is a lifeline, a record, a rallying cry. Black stories, Black voices, Black power.
The heat is on.
On the air and in the culture. KBLA Talk 1580. Stay connected. Stay informed. Stay loud.
Stand up! You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. I had a wonderful time in Los Angeles for the 5th anniversary of KBLA at the Beehive, spending some time with Dominique DePrima and, of course, Tavis Smiley, Nee Cordelai, Zoe, and the Relationship Show. Got to see my man Ray Richardson, who keeps us up to date on the sports, and James Farr with those amazing editorials holding people accountable in the state of California. And Kenny Smith, Miles, and Andy, I appreciate you guys for all the work that you're doing. And my brother Taz and Angie, who keep our show moving forward, along with our producer, Gina Towns. I've asked Gina to come in this segment and possibly the next segment to talk about the conversation we just had with Dexter Hall. Gina, looking forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
What's going on, Jesse?
Hey, we're still here. Listen, I've heard a lot of talk about Democrats regaining control of Congress. I've heard a lot of talk about affordability. It's like a Democratic talking point now, and everyone's talking about affordability. But again, when we sharpen the pencil, we lose some good wood and we lose some good lead. But the point is to get to the point. And I think Dexter helped me get to the point today on this question of affordable housing and the ill-housed, and the fact that we don't hear much from anybody, quite frankly, in this political season, talking about housing. Gina, your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, first of all, as you just said, thank you to Tavis and the staff at KBLA for a great 5th anniversary celebration. It really was great to be with so many people right there in Los Angeles who are listening, watching on Facebook and YouTube. So I want you to know that we appreciate you at KBLA and at the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Thank you for knowing the names of the shows. I actually have on my t-shirt again today. There it is, KBLA celebrating year 5. And what a weekend it was. And then I have to turn my attention. I hate to come on the show. And part of the reason why I know that you said, come on, because sometimes I'm just venting, listening to the program. And I thought, what have we heard from the Department of Housing, the Secretary of Housing, who appears to be, I may be wrong, but the cabinet looks like it has, once again in the Trump administration, one black guy. Last time it was Ben Carson, who is a surgeon.
Housing is always the Negro job.
But he's a surgeon. I mean, so I remember having this conversation during the first Trump administration, was like, Ben Carson knows nada about this. He's a brilliant man, but he's a doctor. And so now we have Scott Turner.
Yeah, Scott Turner.
Former football player, ran for office in California and Texas. I have nothing against but my point is we've not heard one thing about housing.
Listen, if I got off of a plane on a tarmac and I had to shake the hand of the President of the United States and all members of his cabinet, to your point, by the time I get to the black dude, it's like, hey, you must be the housing secretary. I mean, that's pretty much the job that they relegate to black people, not like Treasury Secretary or Office of Management and Budget or Vice President of the United States or Secretary of State, the kinds of jobs that move resources to communities that need to redevelop housing or build housing. They put a brother there. And then that brother usually comes forward and makes some announcement that everybody who's in receiving any kind of form of public assistance, they need to go to work to receive the public assistance. But ain't nobody asking the billionaires to go to work and they get tax breaks. That's a form of public assistance. If the public did not give them that assistance, they would not have a tax break. That's exactly what public assistance is. It's a break. It's a break for housing. And so when you think about the housing problem in San Francisco and the great work that the Providence Foundation, providencesf.org is how you reach them on the internet, is doing, I mean, you can only stand back and clap, right? But on the other hand, you know, on our way to the Beehive, I mean, there were homeless people in Los Angeles. There are homeless people in Chicago.
A growing homeless with people who are on the brink of.
And that requires coordination by somebody, not just in LA. I mean, you can't blame Karen Bass for, you know, a decade's problem. She's done some work in this area.
I feel like this is a KBLA editorial in the making.
Yeah, well, hey, you know, I don't want to say anything or do anything that affects the way we need to make political progress, because she's doing a great job. I'm not going to knock that. I'm not going to knock the job that Brandon's doing. He's doing the very best in Chicago that he can do. But the fact of the matter is, without the federal coordination that can build highways, that can build battleships, that can launch cruise missiles, that can build airports, that can build train tracks from one end of the country to the other, and then when you turn around and tell them that they're Americans that are ill-housed, we don't have the resources, the will, or the wherewithal to do so. I find that to be deeply troubling. And from housing, Dexter made it clear, housing is tied to mental health. It's tied to a sense of self, that you have a place to go, that you call your own. It's tied to your school district. It's tied to your neighborhood. It's tied to everything. At the foundation of this, Gina, to your point last week, is something called a piece of land that people get to call their own.
You know who was very interesting back in the day, and I don't know, I think I'm going to try to find him. Vince Lane was the chairman of the Chicago Housing Authority, and he would implode buildings on a regular basis. He'd call and say, "Hey, what you doing on Saturday?" And I'd say, "Well, what do I need to be doing?" He says, "I'm going to implode
Come watch me blow up a
this
building."
high rise and put these people in housing and teach them how to take care of a lawn and to plant flowers because they've never owned anything before." And so that does go back to the land. But I did, while you were talking, I went to look up this particular tenure of Mr. Turner. He's now in his current position presided over plans to relocate the headquarters of HUD from the Robert C. Weaver Federal Building to the National Science Foundation headquarters building in Alexandria. And he has also mandated that the HUD website be exclusively in English and canceled all non-English services.
This is the brother
on the government website.
This is the brother. I mean, who
I'm
should
all
be
for
open?
people learning English. Don't get it wrong.
But he should be open to every American. Some folks speak Polish. Some folks speak, I mean, come on now. Some folks don't speak English or Spanish.
How long has this administration been in place? January 25. I've not seen you, and this is what I find on the website that you
Amazing.
are up to. But anyway.
Amazing.
I think that I'm going to put out a call for him to come. I might even try to find Ben Carson.
Yeah.
We need to find somebody. Is this being relegated back to the states? We need to have a conversation about housing, like you said, especially in light of what Mr. Hall said.
And when you turn it over to the states, it still doesn't mean that each governor is going to have the same priority or even make it one of the top issues.
Right.
So the lack of coordination, the coordination has to come from the federal government. That's first, because when the federal government wants to wipe out homelessness, it can wipe out homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
The other, I think, pressing point on the question of the role of the federal government is housing discrimination. The Civil Rights Department in the Department of Housing and Urban Development belongs in the Department of Housing and Urban Development and not in the Department of Justice. Yes, it is wrong to discriminate on the basis of housing, but who talks about housing in the federal government? Housing and Urban Development. By the time the Department of Justice turns its attention to a housing case, when they're handling criminal cases and other cases around the country, this just isn't what they do. It's not what they do. And we can do better as a nation. We're just not doing it. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. This is our 5th anniversary at KBLA Talk 1580. I'm really, really happy, by the way, with that jingle, that birthday jingle. for the 5th anniversary. That's a lot of work, and it was very, very creative and very, very well done. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580. Don't forget, in the next hour, Barbara Arnwine will be on the grind covering the entire country. More when we come forward right here at KBLA Talk 1580.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're an African American mom who is pregnant or have a baby under 6 months old, you deserve care that lifts, listens, and lasts. Black Infant Health is for you. It's a free program with individual support, group sessions, and resources to start your mothering journey. BIH makes space for moms and their families to create community. Learn more about the programs in Los Angeles County. Check us out at blackinfanthealth.org.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
Hi, I'm Chris Holden, former California Assembly member, former Mayor of Pasadena, and CEO of LA Fire Justice. I've spent my career fighting for our communities. When I saw Edison celebrating $4.5 billion in profits while Eaton Fire survivors struggle to make ends meet, it made me simultaneously sick and furious. Families and individuals are dealing with financial pressure, insurance delays, costly remediation, and the painful question of how to rebuild their lives, while the utility that caused the fire is paying its executives millions and is more profitable than ever. That's not justice. That's a disgrace. Join the lawsuit with LA Fire Justice to hold Edison accountable. We're here to help you, your family, and our community recover. Visit lafirejustice.com today to learn more about your eligibility and how to start.
Advertisement. Douglas Boxer, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101 is the attorney responsible for this ad.
LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The BLM Center for Black Power is a hub for Black activism in the city of Los Angeles, a standalone nonprofit affiliated with Black Lives Matter LA. The venue is home to live events, meetings, and organizing drives for Black-led community-based organizations. It is also the base of operations for Black Lives Matter LA. Built on what used to be a nuisance property owned by an arms dealer, the BLM Center for Black Power is in the heart of Leimert Park and has opened its doors to everything from youth organizers to toy drives to film screenings and community town hall meetings. To make a donation or make a request, please visit blmla.org. That's blmla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our producer and creator, Gina Towns, is also joining me in this final segment. In 10 minutes, Barbara Arnwine will be on the grind, and she's going to bring us up to date on all of the happenings around the country that we need to be engaged in over the course of the next week. Very grateful for Barbara's participation. Hey, Gina, let me throw something out at you. In the context within which Dexter Hall brought up these issues of housing and has been fighting for decent, safe, and affordable housing in the San Francisco Bay Area, and the acknowledgement that it's the same problem all over the country, it seems to me that either the White House is tone deaf or the administration, well, the entire administration is tone deaf. So you're going to build a ballroom that's over $300 million in the middle of a housing crisis in the United States. You're going to build an Arc de Triomphe, $15 million on a reflecting pool that 1 week after it's filled with water, it's covered in green algae, which everyone who's lived in Washington, D.C. knows that is the nature of the reflecting pool. It happens. It's got trees up and down the mall. It's got flowers and all kinds of stuff blowing across the reflecting pool. You've got ducks sitting in it all day with their families taking a dump. What do you expect in stagnant water in the middle of Washington, D.C., other than algae? Well, Donald Trump, again, is anti-science. And so he thought he could just slap some lipstick on her and make her look good by putting some blue paint on the ground and making it look good. We're not talking about making something look good. We're talking about housing human beings. That's what's on Dexter Hall's mind this morning and this afternoon, and it should be on all of our minds this morning and this afternoon. Gina?
Well, certainly when Barbara comes on in the next hour, that's probably a good subject to talk about, to see what she's heard, because you know how she keeps her ear to the ground and she's always on the grind. But I'll tell you, I've spent a lot of time in Los Angeles, and I always made it my business to visit areas that I knew had a higher homeless population, because I like to talk to people, because somehow, you know, we can all look past homeless people. We're in our cars. We don't want to let down the window. I have watched people run scam. I get that. But there are people that I have become friendly with over the time. And I remember that there was a guy named Philip. I used to stay at the Westin LAX quite a bit. And around the corner down the street was a guy named Philip. And he says, I got you something today. When I stopped by, he was asleep. I tucked a $5 bill in his pocket. He woke up and he said, oh, yeah, I was hoping I would not miss you today. And he gave me a little small New Testament. And I thought to myself, I mean, you are thinking at a whole nother level that some people are who have a pillow under their head every night. You're concerned about a greater level of my well-being, and that is my spiritual well-being. But, you know, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. And I remember when Trump talked about Los Angeles specifically and the homeless problem, and someone who is a developer, why can't, you know, we focus on that? There are enough abandoned buildings to remodel. There's enough people who would give up their time to do training, to teach people how to speak English, if that's what the website just has to solely be. I mean, there's just no solution because there's no care. That's the bottom line.
Interesting. I built decent, safe, and affordable housing when I was a U.S. representative, working with community leaders, organizing the private capital, recognizing the public need, public governance, and a community of care where people were concerned about the community and the blight that it was having in the community in Calumet City. And today, the Ginger Ridge Apartments stand as a true national testament to how to do public housing right, using the public-private partnership model. Now, on the other hand, I watched some of those high-rise buildings get blown down in Chicago, and I was a congressman at the time when we had built some relatively new low-income, moderate-income housing in the south suburbs. And some of the residents from the housing units came to the 2nd Congressional District. They moved into Harvey and to Dixmoor and to Posen and to other communities. And we had literally 1 week before they opened up the housing units, we had dedicated the housing, and a family moved in, took them on a tour of their new house, their new home, which was connected to the other units in the building. And a week later, we had to come back because the family had never had carpet on the floor before. And so the mother, not knowing better, literally mopped the floor, mopped the carpet. And we had to pull the carpet out of the new unit. It then dawned on us that there was a certain amount of training that had to take place before we could move them into the new units, because some folk, when they was moving on up, or there was the good times down there with Wheezy them in the housing projects at Cabrini Green, had never owned anything. And when they did, they hadn't become accustomed to the idea that maintenance and care and the kind of, didn't have a refrigerator before, didn't have hot and cold running water before. And these were new ideas to them. And it was tragic, with all of that which we celebrated. It was also very difficult. And so I understand the housing issue in ways more than just putting a roof over someone's head or having heat in the wintertime or air conditioning in the summertime. When Dexter talked about housing, there are lots of issues associated with moving someone into a house. And you can tell when you move into a neighborhood, when someone lives in a home and they've never owned one before, because it's a labor of love. And it is a defining sense of your personality and who you are. I plant a farm in my backyard every year. My grass seeds, stopping water from running through my roof with holes in my roof, making sure the air conditioning is work, clay pipes underneath my home, flushing them out regularly so that the home maintains a certain aura and about itself. Housing is a part of who you are. When I go out on the road, even in Los Angeles for the 5th anniversary of KBLA, I couldn't wait to get back home because there had been tornadoes that came through Chicago. I'm sitting back saying to myself while I'm in LA, wow, what could have happened to my home in the rain, in the storm? And then you come back and you're driving down the street, you see trees down, and you're like, wow, I didn't take a beating from the storm. It becomes a part of who you are. It just does.
Well, gratefully, in your book, A More Perfect Union, you talked and you offered while you were in Congress an amendment for fair housing. And that really still needs to be visited. I hope that people will go and check that out in your book amongst the 9 amendments that you offered. But I will say this, when your children aren't housed, when you are no longer in your house, trying to live in your car, the Department of Children and Family Services takes those children from you. So housing then, as Dexter talked about, affects education. It affects your health. And so, there's a generation of children who are not seen because of these particular issues. And, it's almost impossible to try to address everything. But when someone like President Obama comes forth and says, hey, let's get this health care bill done, I hope that somebody will come forth soon and say, hey, let's deal with housing first.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. This is the 5th anniversary of KBLA Talk 1580, and we are grateful to have the right and the ability to say what we want to say on our own network. When we come forward, Barbara Arnwine will be our very special guest, and we'll be on the grind. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. In an update on a story we're following for you, civil rights attorney Ben Crump wants an independent autopsy in the death of a 1-year-old African-American boy shot by Senatobia, Mississippi police. His name is Cohen Wiley. Police were responding to a shoplifting report. The boy's mom, Valencia Wiley, was a passenger in the car with her baby as another woman was driving. Wiley tells WHBQ her side of the story.
They tried to say that she forcefully was trying to drive and hit them, but they was all on the right side and she was driving towards the left. They just shot in the car.
But police say Cohen was being held by his mother in the passenger seat of the suspect vehicle that was trying to leave the Walmart parking lot. One fired a shot, killing the child when the car drove toward officers. A Los Angeles City Councilwoman wants an independent investigation of the massive warehouse fire in Boyle Heights. It's been burning for a week. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the free iHeartRadio app.
Wild Rivers is now open daily with over 25 slides and attractions for thrill seekers and lazy river chillers. Visit wildrivers.com for great values on season passes and daily tickets. That's wildrivers.com. Wild Rivers, where there's sun and fun for everyone.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The first round of the NBA draft is tonight in Brooklyn. The Clippers have the number 5 pick. The Lakers are at number 25. Tonight is a major opportunity for the Clippers to get an impact player. There's a player the Clippers need to take at number 5, and he's projected to be available. Darius Acuff Jr., a 6'3" freshman point guard from Arkansas, is the kind of player the Clippers need to get younger in the backcourt and provide some clutch offense. This kid is a shooter and a playmaker. In 3 NCAA tournament games last season, Acuff averaged 29.3 points and 5.1 assists. He was voted Southeastern Conference Player of the Year. Acuff is also one of only 2 players in SEC history to lead the conference in scoring and assists. The other is a guy named Pete Maravich, the original White Chocolate. Young folks, look him up on YouTube. Pistol Pete Maravich was a straight-up baller. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. In my prior commentary about Destination Crenshaw, or Procrastination Crenshaw as we call it around here, I opine that sometimes neglect becomes a decision. I want to challenge my own neglect becomes a decision thesis in just a moment. This $100 million revitalization project was supposed to transform 1.3 miles of Crenshaw Boulevard into a world-class celebration of Black art and culture. It was first promised to open in 2023, then 2024, and here we are, still waiting, still suffering. The businesses along this corridor, Black-owned businesses, are suffocating. Construction chaos everywhere, shuttered storefronts, a community being bled dry by broken promises. So, I stand by my earlier formulation that neglect becomes a decision. But as I have thought more about the gross negligence, the incompetence on steroids, it occurs to me that sometimes neglect isn't just a decision. Neglect is the default position of some Black electeds. Not all, but some. They just don't believe that Black folk deserve the very best. They don't believe that we deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. So we go from being constituents on the campaign trail to collateral once they're sworn into office. And when, for example, one is termed out of office and can't run again, but is still clutching the gavel of power, one thinks that he can stay comfortably above the fray while we anguish for years on end. The apparent attitude is, I'll just leave this mess for the next person to clean up. That's what it feels like, Mr. President, Mr. LA City Council President. But it's not just him, it's the local media too, Black and white, corporate and independent. Look at how little has been said about this never-ending nightmare in Crenshaw, year after year after year. Nobody at City Hall and nobody who's supposed to be holding City Hall accountable seems to care one bit about the safety and security of Crenshaw residents and the Black business owners who are slowly being strangled. Don't be fooled. This isn't just a construction delay. This is what disrespect looks like with a budget attached. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Looking forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on Tenacious Tuesday, where we are always blessed with our most tenacious contributing host, Barbara Arnwine, attorney, president, and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition, internationally renowned for her contributions on many critical justice issues, including passage of the Civil Rights Act, the Affordable Care Act, reauthorization of provisions of the Voting Rights Act. She also serves as co-chair and facilitator of the National Commission for Voter Justice, the Millennial Voters Matters convenings, and the Voting Rights Alliance. She was the head of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under law from February 1989 until June 2015 and holds the honorific title of President Emeritus. Barbara, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I know that she'll be here in just a moment. Here she is, right here. Hey, Barbara.
Hey, it's good to be here.
It's great to hear your voice. Barbara, listen, we were in Los Angeles this past week for the 5th anniversary of KBLA. There must have been 1,000 people at the Beehive, and there may have been more because there was coming and going, and people were fed very well. Kenny Lattimore performed fantastically. Lunel, funny as hell. And I mean, it was just a wonderful, wonderful time. But as we walked around the event, people would tell us what their favorite shows were on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Oh.
Almost to the letter, everyone wanted to know, was Barbara Arnwine with us on this occasion? So, Barbara, I want you to know, on the ground in Los Angeles, we are on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. Here she is. Barbara, what's going on in the world, and what should we be concerned about?
There's so much going on. Let's start, folks. Remember last week we had a big discussion about Georgia and that Georgia state legislature that was claiming it was going to get rid of 2 black congressional districts, 26 African American and Latino state legislative districts. And remember, they were on a roar. They were going to have this special session. The governor had called for it, and they were going to do everything they could to get rid of these districts. Well, folks, something happened. Something happened.
Oh, we know, Barbara. Tell it. Drop it on.
Come on, something happened.
People showed up.
Black folks showed up.
People showed up. Yes, we did. Now
showed up, and they crowded that. Not only did they crowd and surround and just were everywhere in the state capitol, the preachers marched around the state capitol 7 times, people. 7 times, like
till the wall come tumbling down.
They called them out. And the New York Times even did a headline called "Anger." Georgia having to give some consideration to all this black anger, and that that people were upset. So guess what happened, folks? They saw all this smoke, as I call it, and said, "We don't want none of that. We don't want it. We don't want these black folks being so upset they're going to come out." They literally said one of their concerns was that Black and Latino people would be so upset, and progressive voters would be so upset at what they were doing, that they would turn out in record numbers. And that if that happened, they'd lose. They would be cutting off their nose to spite their face. They would lose. And so as a result, they wrote a letter to the governor saying, "We didn't mean it. We're not going to redistrict nothing. And we know that you wanted us to, but it's just not going to happen." And respectively, the House and the Senate, they signed it, sent it to the governor, and everybody was like, yeah, That's what happens when we show up. But folks, guess what? They didn't go. The black folks just didn't go home. They said, nah, we don't trust y'all. So we're going to stay here until you're out of session. So they showed up the next day in record numbers and again flooded it. And today, folks, this is Tuesday, from Tuesday to Tuesday, this Tuesday, they just closed the session. Not one bit of redistricting happened.
Amen.
That's what
Amen. That's a victory. When we show up, we show out. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to On the Grind with Barbara Arnwine. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations, come on, y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA. Look, 5 years deep and we still going up. Built it from the ground, never real, no one else. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. Happy smiling, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 15.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Barbara, I do have a question for you that we began at the final close of Tavis Smiley's show on the question of Democrats and their support of Plattner. And there is this concern, given his history, given his tweets, given his posts, that Tavis used the example that a scholar had actually written about regarding Senator Byrd. He used the example that Byrd was a Democrat who came through all of these various periods and various processes, but he was also a Klansman and elected to the Senate, but he was a Democrat. He was one in the number that we needed in the House or in the Senate to do what Democrats do. And there is this sense that our own moral standards as a people for who we vote during this period, because all that Donald Trump represents and all that this administration represents, that we're being asked to just vote for any old body. And any old body, if you're African American, it just doesn't work for us. Barbara, your thoughts about the dynamic that we confront in some of these moral choices just to stop Donald Trump.
Yes, people, Plattner has been accused of having done some really ugly, violent, abuse that clearly is disturbing. And as a woman, guess what that is. And you got him running against someone who's been horrific, who has brought abuse and violence against women by voting for Brett Kavanaugh and some other, doing some other horrific, decisions. So it's a hard one because both are really not what I call great people. And I better be quite careful because, I'm just, saying what I feel. And in fact, when, the issue becomes, this really is where I hate for politics to lie when you talk about the lesser of two evils and which one is the evilest, because they're both bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good situation.
I love that word. I love that word, evilist.
All right.
We're choosing between the evilest, the evil and the evil, the evilest.
Remember Eveline? No, but anyway, that's a whole other story.
From the Wiz.
So we just want people to understand that it really is tough. So if you're gonna have to vote, who you voting for? And now he's better on policy, right, than she is, but by far. And so that's one of the issues that people have to make a decision about, because if you're not going to vote for the person who's there because she's done so much damage. But on the other hand, putting him in office isn't raising a high, standard either. So it's a tough one. If I were voting, and I'm not in that election, of course, I would find myself unable to support Collins. No way. Given
Barbara,
what she's done.
I do want to pick up on this, because one of the other issues that Tavis raised that I thought was particularly important was he talked about the white liberal. He asked me what the problem was, and I told them that many of them are ahistorical. They may be close to where we are on policy, but when it comes to racism and fighting white supremacy, they're not necessarily on that path with us publicly. And so we end up in a situation where we are left with someone with the evilest. We're left with the evilest, but then there's very little expectations from Fetterman when it comes to our cause. There's very little expectation from Plattner when it comes to our cause. And there was absolutely no expectation that we had from Senator Byrd as it related to our cause, being a Democrat. Right. So how do we navigate? How do we navigate, Barbara, that space and be effective in our advocacy?
Well, Fetterman, for example, I wish I had every dime back I ever gave his campaign. I wish every penny. In fact, half cent. I'll even take a half cent back because that mad at him because he's been horrific, and definitely not what I would call a friend to so many of our causes. And and Byrd was about pure political numbers, and all of those kind of calculations that people engage in the political sphere. I just think that these are the hard questions. In fact, sometimes when you reach these kind of points, you wonder, how did these people even get vetted? How did they even get run?
Yeah.
Who vetted these people? Was this inside job? I mean, was this never serious? I mean, you worry about it because it's just so ugly. And the allegations made me flinch, when I heard them. They visibly made me flinch. Like, how in the world? So I just think that it's a reminder to everybody listening and everybody watching that we need better candidates always. We don't have the best people aren't running for office, and we need the best to run. And I hope that folks listening will be thinking about rising up and doing better. Because like I said, I would not vote for Collins. There's no way.
And the personalities in this space, no one's perfect in this space. No one is going to be everything that we want.
We're humans with our clay feet.
And we're going to be playing the numbers. What do we gain from regaining control of the Congress? We regain Hakeem Jeffries. What do we gain? We gain the leadership of Jim Clyburn at another level in the caucus, given his tenure. What do we gain? We gain Benny Thompson being in control of Homeland Security. We gain some things when we look at the numbers and the overall impact of our vote if we regain control of Congress. We already know what happens if we don't. So we do play the numbers game, but to make up this motley group of Democrats, we're going to have to eat some people that we don't like. I mean, that becomes part of the mix too, at least as I have experienced it. Everybody ain't going to be on our side on a lot of issues. And one of my big criticisms of Rahm Emanuel when he was in Congress is he went out deliberately trying to recruit these guys. I mean, everybody.
He was
horrible. It was awful. He was recruiting people who he knew when they get elected to Congress were going to be fighting us within the Democratic Party. It's like, you can't put nobody else with our money. This is ridiculous. But that's his centrist, middle of the road politics, and there will be consequences for that as he undertakes his next ventures. I'm thinking, Barbara, that with all of this talk about Democrats regaining control of the Congress, are you experiencing or seeing any significant changes in voter enthusiasm? Because you preach a lot on getting out to vote, and these primary processes, I'm not necessarily feeling that the numbers are there to stop the Plattners of life, to pick the progressive candidates or the candidates that we believe in the primary process, and that's how we end up with them in the general. Now, the numbers may be higher in November, but Barbara, we're not engaging the primaries. And you're a good friend, and my father, Jesse Jackson, made us vote in the primaries.
Yes, he
made
did.
us make the good choices early.
Yes, he did. And, and when I look at what's happening around the country, first of all, everybody, you saw the poll, right? The ABC News, I think it's ABC News poll that shows they did a serious examination of what's been happening with the vote. As I've been saying on this show, I mean, come on, these people should hire me, right? I mean, they don't have to spend all their money trying to do all this stuff. I've been saying that there is that the vote that we've been watching in 2025 and 2026 is radically different than 2024. A whole lot of those folks who messed up in their heads in 2024 are returning the vote, and new people have become eligible to vote. What the new poll shows, and I apologize if I know it wasn't CBS. I apologize if I got the But the new poll shows that folks are voting for Democrats like they'd have lost their minds. And that it's a huge increase for Democrats, a huge bump that they've seen. And we've all seen it. I mean, we've all been watching what's been all these flipping from reds to blues and all the rest of it. And since we're, folks, I'm not trying to be partisan here. I'm just trying to talk the politics of what the poll says. The polls showed that Democrats are ready to trounce the Republican Party in the midterms. There's just if this trend line continues, there's just no doubt about it. Now, in light of that, what do you do if you are the president of the United States of America? You saw that poll. Your people have been talking about it to you. You already, trying to, block voting. You're already trying to block mail voting. You're already trying to have the most ideologically extreme Supreme Court. You're already doing all these things to hurt voters. Raiding, having your DOJ raid Ohio, DOJ raid Minnesota, DOJ raid America Votes, persecuted SPLC, all of this stuff. But what does he do when the polling comes out? He starts talking about his reflecting pool.
Isn't that something?
And how people are vandalizing.
Isn't that something?
Wait, what did he say? A 250-foot took a knife.
Unbelievable.
I mean, folks, you talk about delusional. That is so delusional. It doesn't even make good sense. You got the algae is a common problem. Well, Obama had it.
For decades. Right. It's the nature of the mall. In fact, if you have allergies, don't go to DC at all in the spring. The cherry blossoms are beautiful, but DC is notorious for this.
And it's hot. So you're going to have algae, right? They're going to grow. And every time you shut the system down to reboot, it's going to always be full of algae because they've been sitting up there lurking. And so now all of a sudden, he's claiming that people put something, fertilizer. Folks, drove themselves up to the reflecting pool with its cameras everywhere, taking active, videos of what people doing, and threw fertilizer. And then he's going to claim that somebody cut the darn thing. Instead of doing the things that would help his party, instead of while Vance is over there trying to do a deal with Iran, he starts yelling and screaming on at 4 a.m, all kind of threats that he's gonna blow the S out of them and all the rest of it, just losing his mind. So they have a dilemma. The leader of the party is out of control. The leader of the party is dangerously is motivating people to say, can't have this anymore.
I know when we come forward, we have a lot of issues that I want you to feel free to address, but I do want to talk about this one. The Supreme Court today ruled against a devout Rastafarian.
You saw that. Yeah.
Who sought damages after Louisiana prison officials cut his dreadlocks despite his claim it violated his religious rights. The court ruled 6-3 that Damon Landor cannot seek damages under a law called the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act. The court was divided along ideological lines with conservatives in the majority and liberals dissenting. Prison guards, I guess they're in Alabama. Probably the worst place to go to prison is in Alabama.
Louisiana.
Was it Louisiana?
Yes, Louisiana.
Yeah, well, between Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi.
Right, what's the difference?
Anyway, he said he felt raped because he lost his Rastafarian hood once they shaved his head in prison. We'll talk about that with Barbara Arnwine when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. In an update on a story we're following for you, civil rights attorney Ben Crump wants an independent autopsy in the death of a 1-year-old African-American boy shot by Senatobia, Mississippi police. His name is Cohen Wiley. Police were responding to a shoplifting report. The boy's mom, Valencia Wiley, was a passenger in the car with her baby as another woman was driving. Wiley tells WHBQ her side of the story.
Well, they tried to say that she forcefully was trying to drive and hit them, but they was all on the right side and she was driving towards the left. They just shot in the car.
But police say Cohen was being held by his mother in the passenger seat of the suspect vehicle that was trying to leave the Walmart parking lot. One fired a shot, killing the child when the car drove toward officers. A Los Angeles City Councilwoman wants an independent investigation of the massive warehouse fire in Boyle Heights. It's been burning for a week. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the free iHeartRadio app.
Wild Rivers is now open daily with over 25 slides and attractions for thrill seekers and lazy river chillers. Visit wildrivers.com for great values on season passes and daily tickets. That's wildrivers.com. Wild Rivers, where there's sun and fun for everyone.
Turn the dial to where the truth lives. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson. This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NCAA voted today to increase the eligibility clock for student athletes from 4 years to 5. Student athletes will now have 5 seasons of eligibility over 5 years. After 5 years, they are no longer eligible. The MEAC Conference is adding women's flag football and women's golf as varsity sports. The 2 additional sports gives the HBCU Conference 16 varsity sports. HBCU schools in the MEAC include Howard, Norfolk State, Coppin State, Delaware State, Morgan State, South Carolina State, and Maryland Eastern Shore. ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins has been hired by HBCU Jackson State to be the general manager of the men's basketball program. Perkins, who played 14 seasons in the NBA, will remain in his role at ESPN. Perkins was the starting center for the Boston Celtics when they won the NBA championship in 2008. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Turn the dial to where the truth lives. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Please be advised. You may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, bean sprouts, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
Wait, what? I thought those were good for me.
Turns out not for everyone, because what's healthy for one person can cause inflammation for another. And the only way to really know what your body needs is to listen to it.
Listen how?
That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple at-home gut health test that looks at your body's real-time biology using RNA to understand what's happening inside you right now. When your results come in, you'll learn exactly which foods to eat, which to avoid, and which supplements are right for you, all based on the world's largest RNA-based human biology database and thousands of clinical research studies. And many people who use Viome report more energy, better digestion, and a better mood within months. So stop guessing. Start knowing. Learn more at viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, IOME.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase. Viome. Trust your gut.
When the story gets twisted, who's going to tell the truth? When they cut the microphones, who's still talking? When history gets rewritten, who remembers what really happened? We do. KBLA Talk 1580. Black media isn't just important right now, it's essential. Because when mainstream outlets move on, we stay. When the headlines ignore our communities, we don't. When decisions are being made that affect Black lives in our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, KBLA is in the room. This is more than radio. This is a lifeline, a record, a rallying cry. Black stories, Black voices, Black power. The heat is on the air and in the culture. KBLA Talk 1580. Stay connected, stay informed, stay loud. Stand up!
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The midterm elections are upon us. It is voting season once again. Common Cause's motto is fighting for the democracy we deserve. In service of that goal, Common Cause puts its state and national policy expertise, massive network of grassroots supporters, and nonpartisan approach into action to strengthen our democracy against the challenges we face today. They work at every level of government on priorities that impact each of our lives, like defending the right to vote, limiting big money's influence on our elections, holding public officials accountable, and more. Common Cause is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. They seek to empower all people to make their voices heard in the political process. This election may be the most important one ever. If you'd like to make a donation or volunteer in service to the Constitution, please visit commoncause.org. That's commoncause.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We're on the line with Barbara Arnwine on KBLA Talk 1580. Barbara Arnwine is the president of the Transformative Justice Coalition and internationally renowned for contributions in the space of civil rights, not only domestically, but around the world. Barbara, welcome forward to the show.
It's good to be back. Can I correct something I said earlier?
Of course you can. And then I want to talk about this brother losing. I want to talk about this brother getting shaved in prison.
Oh, yes. We got to talk about that violence.
We got to talk about that. Go ahead, Barbara.
But first of all, I wanted people to know that poll I was talking about is from the Washington Post. And the title of the article yesterday, Democratic turnout is up, even in Republican districts. Post analysis finds. More voters are casting ballots for Democrats compared with the numbers in previous midterms, fueling the party's hope for big wins in November. Americans are voting this year for Democrats at far higher numbers in primaries and special elections compared with previous contexts, suggesting that voters are unusually motivated heading into November. Oh, and then it talks about how they mad that they documented that part of this because they just mad. They're angry. We should have known, huh? They angry.
Hey, well, well, you know what? Thank you for correcting that. Some of these great articles, I got to be honest, with our listeners. Some of these great articles are hidden behind paywalls
Right.
that I simply cannot afford. So when Barbara sends them to me, she sends me a little gift certificate. It says, "Hey, you need to read this one." I'm like, "Thank you, Barbara. I sure appreciate it. That's what we'll talk about today." Thank you.
Yeah, they
Travis
pay.
sent me- Travis sent me 2 or 3 articles. I'm like, "Man, listen, you need to send me a subscription." Anyway, Barbara, my brother walked into prison with dreadlocks, and they shaved his head. What's up with that?
They didn't just shave his head. They violently assaulted him to shave his head. Like 6 of them jumped on the poor man.
And these are
They
SEALs.
held
These
him
are
down.
prison officials. These are prison officials who held him down to shave his head.
To shave his head. Now, that's all they got to do, huh? You know, I mean, of all the things going on in the prison, they got to worry about this one brother's dreadlocks. My son wears beautiful dreadlocks. And so I really, really find this, offensive, because this man was a devout, not just no kind of halfway, part-time, stylish. He was a devout Rastafarian. Rastafari is a religion. Just in case people don't know, when you see Bob Marley and you see all them, those Rastafarians, that's based on the religions. They have a whole set of, of their own devotions. They have a whole set of their own beliefs. They have a whole spiritual basis for who they are. Rastafarians are it's a very old, not just, in the last 3 years, it's a very old religion. So I think the fact that this court, again, this anti-Black court, again, came up with some bizarre reason. If he had been wearing a yarmulke, would they been able to just violently tear it off his head and keep it away from him?
No.
If he had been, come on now, if he had been a white Christian nationalist.
Say that right there.
Huh?
Say that part right there. They're gonna just snatch the Nazi tattoo off his forehead.
Hey, would they have, if he had his hair cutting across, they're gonna tell him they're gonna shave it? Come on, people. We know what this is. This really is offensive. I'm so glad, again, that Ketanji Brown Jackson was there to show her cred, her real strength, and she wrote that dissent in this case. Once again, arguing for the rights of this Rastafarian. It's wrong what they did. It's counter to their whole countenance that they're this big religious, Supreme Court, but they're white nationalists, right? They're white Christian nationalists, and they're and let me be very clear, a whole lot of coming out of that Jesuit tradition and all the rest of it. So
Barbara, let me ask you a question. Barbara, there seems to be on the 250th anniversary of America, less religious tolerance. I mean, what the majority said in the court, at least I perceive them to have said in the court, is they don't recognize Rastafarianism. But neither did Pete Hegseth when he reduced the number of acceptable practicing religions in the Pentagon or in the military, I guess from a list that included maybe several hundred. I heard as many as 1,100, and he said we're only going to recognize 50. So, here is at the foundation of the 250th anniversary of the celebration of the idea of religious freedom, just an all-out assault and attack, and now the court has joined the game.
And because there's a whole lot of folks out there who really, truly believe that this is, quote, a Christian nation, a white Christian nation, regardless of the fact that there were 25 million Native Americans living on this continental U.S. At the time of the European invasion. They claim this is a white, Christian nation, and the reality is that they only have tolerance for those white Christian faiths, and they really don't have tolerance for anything that's in their mind, liberal. They are, really strict constructionists in a way, because they're hypocritical, right? Mm-hmm. Because on the one hand, you say that, we follow the Old Testament. New Testament's a little bit too liberal, but so they preach mostly out of the Old Testament. And they say, that you should, mind the tenets of the Old Testament, including, thou shalt not what? Commit adultery, and all the rest of this. Yet they love and just, they deify our current president, who is not a God-fearing
or God-loving person. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr.
Right.
You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More on the Grind with Barbara Arnwine. When we come forward, we are also going to discuss how we can support Barbara and her work. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Gas prices got you down. LADWP customers get a rebate of up to $4,000 when you buy a used electric or plug-in hybrid vehicle. Installing an EV charger at your home? Get a rebate for that too, up to $1,500. Visit ladwp.com/EV today and start saving. That's ladwp.com/EV. Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The midterm elections are upon us. It is voting season once again. Common Cause's motto is fighting for the democracy we deserve. In service of that goal, Common Cause puts its state and national policy expertise, massive network of grassroots supporters, and nonpartisan approach into action to strengthen our democracy against the challenges we face today. They work at every level of government on priorities that impact each of our lives, like defending the right to vote, limiting big money's influence on our elections, holding public officials accountable, and more. Common Cause is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. They seek to empower all people to make their voices heard in the political process. This election may be the most important one ever. If you'd like to make a donation or volunteer in service to the Constitution, please visit commoncause.org. That's commoncause.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-505-8991. 800-505-8991. 800-505-8991.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
Barbara Arnwine, born in Southern California, a graduate of Scripps College and Duke University Law School. She is the president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition, internationally renowned for contributions in civil rights, respected by every major civil rights organization in the nation. And her organization isn't just talking, it's active, it's involved, it's in the streets. And Barbara travels from one end of this country to the other, seeking justice. The only other people I know who move more than Barbara Arnwine, and when she bumps into them, it's in an airport somewhere, is Ben Crump and Al Sharpton. And before that, it was my dad. Barbara, how can we support you and the Transformative Justice Coalition?
You can go to tjcoalition.org. tjcoalition.org. And you can make a donation. Remember, we're a 501c3, which means deductions to us are tax deductible as permitted by law. And so we are, extremely, extremely grateful for everybody who gives. We wouldn't be able to do this work without you. And we're doing some serious work. And so we
no doubt
need
about
your
that.
support. That's
But
right.
I got to say this. Isn't it something, though, that so many Black leaders in this transformative space that we meet in airports?
Oh, yes.
It's
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Ben Crump traveling to
It's
the
like,
next.
so we've been waving it and
You
waving
got Ben
it
Crump traveling to the next shooting.
and
You got
hugging
Al
each other.
Sharpton. That's right.
We be hugging each other. I be seeing those. It's all about us. Black Lives Matters t-shirts while I'm doing the John Lewis t-shirts. I mean, we see each other all the time in travel. Because that's what it requires. You got to be out here with the people.
And that's
You're just
TJ
sitting-
Coalition? TJ Coalition?
Yeah, tjcoalition.org. And you can just donate to us as you are able to. And I just want to tell everybody, we're getting ready for this July 4th, right? And I want to remind you that on July 17th through the 19th, we're going to be doing the John Lewis Good Trouble Lives On national program everywhere in this country. And we're inviting people to be hosts of our events. If you're in California, you can go to goodtroubleliveson.org right now, and you can see the map. And you can see all the events happening in California. But also, if you don't see events, you ought to be hosting some. You should be saying, I want to be a leader. Or you could be in your state in Utah, or you could be in your state in Louisiana, Alabama, wherever you may be, Ohio, Illinois, Minnesota, wherever you may be, host an event. Become part of the John Lewis Good Trouble Lives On movement. If you're a lawyer, don't say, well, I'm a lawyer. We need you to come out and be part of this event. We're actually going to do a training for attorneys on this Thursday, the 25th at 2:00 p.m. Eastern. So we're not playing. We're going to do a preach pillar because we want all these churches to make sure all their members are registered to vote. So we're doing a whole preach pillar on the Sunday, July the 19th. So we are saying to everyone, come out. If you'd like to travel, come to good old Atlanta. We're going to be doing a flagship event there. Come and join us. I'll be there in person, so will many others, because we're going to have a flagship broadcast around the whole nation so people will know all about how we're fighting for our voting rights. Don't let the only story be that they've been raiding Black voting rights groups. Don't let the only story be that they tried to clamp down and arrested all these people in Minnesota for tracking ICE and all of its illegal activities. Don't let that be the story. Make the story be like in Georgia, that Black folks made a difference. Let yourself be that difference so that you can hold those grandbabies, so that you can walk down the street with your head a little higher, because you're making a critical difference in this time.
A little bit of breaking news, and then we'll have a word of hope. The U.S. Senate just voted 50-48 to pass a House-approved War Powers Resolution, directing President Donald Trump to halt U.S. military hostilities against Iran and seek congressional approval for any future military action. The resolution serves as a symbolic rebuke of the administration of the Middle East conflict, which began in late February. So more on that probably tomorrow on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. But in the meantime, Barbara, can you provide all of our listeners across the country, across the world, a word of hope in the final 2.5 minutes of our program?
Every change starts with one person. Every change starts with one heart. Every change starts with a vision. Every change, somebody looks at the world and says, it's got to be better. It should be different. And they don't just sit back and moan and groan. They get out there and they figure out how to change it. Everything that we see around us, somebody made that happen. Folks, this is your chance. This is your opportunity. Believe in your visions. Believe in your hopes. Believe in your aspirations. Get up in that morning and look at yourself in the mirror and say, I can do it. Just never, ever fall for the okie doke that says, nothing's going to ever change. It's going to always be this way. You're insignificant. Don't fall for that. You're much more important to this world than you think.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to On the Grind with Barbara Arnwine. Of course, Barbara is one of our nation's leading leaders in direct activism in the streets. You can support her work at the TJ Coalition, tjcoalition.org, tjcoalition.org. Find out more about what the Transformative Justice Coalition is doing on their website, but also please stop by that little black button at the bottom that says, please give and contribute. Let's support Barbara Arnwine and her work. Grateful to KBLA Talk 1580 on this, their 5th anniversary. We're celebrating over here at KBLA. More on KBLA Talk 1580 with D.L. Hughley in just a moment, followed by Nick Cordelai Corte, and then the Relationship Show with Zoe. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr.